bird on a tree.
Well, okay, so the part of verifying the rangefinder and adjusting the rangefinder on the Omega 100 is the rangefinder is built into the top. The light comes in through here, and here is a light comes in, and there's a mirror, and then there's a mirror. This adjusts different angles in here to allow for, you know, where your lens is going to set for focus at infinity. So what I did was, first thing was I took it out on the porch and set it up and looked about 350 so odd feet out down and looked at a pole, like a I think it was like a light pole, well, electrical pole, and there's an adjustment on the back, and that is, and I've taken the plug out. There's a little plug in the flashlight right there, and it's a brass plug. I thought it was a snap-in plug, but it's got threads on it, so you have to unthread that. And if you can see in there, I don't know if we can get a light, there is a little screw, a little set screw, and you turn it in, you know, to the right or to the left to adjust your I don't know if we can, probably can't see in here. There's a, yeah, see that kind of yellow box? That is our focus at infinity. So when you look in that yellow box, you'll see several images. Two images, and they should, at infinity, when you look at that pole, say this is the, like, this is our pole we're looking at, you should just see one. If it's not lined up, you'll see an image of the pole here and an image over here, or you know, you'll see two poles. And it was way off on mine, and so I took, and it takes a 1/8 inch screwdriver. It's I have this nice little set I got somewhere. 1/8 inch. There's quite a few different screws and screwdrivers and such in there, and the 1/8 inch fits nicely. And so you adjust. You stick it in there, and you be very careful, because when you first touch it, if you're looking in there, you'll see that it moves around. So then you adjust it until you line it up. So that was what I thought would probably be good enough, and it probably would have been, I don't know. So I got to reading in my book, and I found, well, it's the book that is for a different model of, it's for the, I printed it out, it's for the Coney Omega Rapid. Very similar. This is different. There's differences, but there's a lot of stuff the same. The back is different, and various things. So here is that little plug I took out, and it's brass in the back. The cover is brass, so I just used a tiny pair of pliers to open that, to turn it, and it's got these tiny little notches, which I didn't see until just now, on each side. So I suppose you use a little pair of spanners or tweezers or something and poke in there, and then unscrewed it and not scratch it. So I'll just touch it up with some black magic marker. But anyway, so with that, and I went ahead and went through some steps to verify in the book. Here, let me put this down. You know, it has, there in the book, it gives you different specifications to measure from when you take the lens out, from the back of the lens where the lens touches this board to the front where your film goes, if you take the back off. And I just used a steel ruler to measure. It was 66 millimeters, 66.6 or something like that millimeters, and or 63.6, I think. But anyway, and it was there. I mean, I can't measure that precise, but I did measure, and that lined up. And then there is this procedure right here, and it tells you how to draw out this pattern. You just measure it out, and you put it on a piece of paper. And I did that. And we'll go up and look at that. And it's right here. And I'm going to save this sheet. But what you do is you measure per the book. I think it's 9 centimeters across here, and 87 centimeters up, and 80 centimeters up. And then you go. It's a target. They call it a rangefinder setting. Oh, rangefinder infinity setting check target. And so you go 5 to 7 meters, or I did the math, 16.4 feet to 22.96 feet. And then when you set your camera to infinity, like when I was looking at the pole, light pole, 350 feet away, you got to line these two pieces up. And in the book, it looks like this piece is going to slide over here. That's not the case. And actually, this moves over. And so this will come right over on top of here and cover it up. And you can kind of see that it's darker because it's double of the gray lines there. And I looked in mine after I had already done that 350 foot outside and tried to line it up. So what I did was I come back and I measured back on the floor 16 feet 3 inches or so, put a mark right there, and then come on back. And then for the other one, I put a piece of tape there too. And I started up here at the closer one because it's just easier to see with my eyes. And I looked and I figured out how it was supposed to look in here. And then I finally figured out, oh, okay, you know, the one on the right goes to the left, and it was almost lined up, but not quite. And I moved back, you know, a couple feet, 2 or 3 feet or whatever, until I went clear back to the other line and kept checking, and it was still the same consistent space off. So then I took my screwdriver and, well, I got this cap off again, and then I got in there with my screwdriver, and I would look in at the deal, and when I would put my screwdriver in there and touch it, it would move it perfect. I'd take my screwdriver out, and it would come back. So what I did was I reached in there, and if you turn it to the left, it moves the upside down L piece, that looks like a 7, I guess, to the left. If you turn it to the right, it moves it to the right. Of course, I had to turn it to the right first to see that I was doing it wrong, but that's okay. So then you just look at that there. Whoa. You line those up, and I took a screwdriver and turned it, and then took the screw out just a tiny little bit, and then pulled it back out and looked, and it was closer, and I just kept doing it 3 or 4 times until I got it lined up. To me, it looks, I mean, probably as perfect as I can get. So that's what I've done to adjust the rangefinder to basically to calibrate it at infinity. And when I say infinity, that's right here on this knob. I need to get a flashlight on that again. See that? Oh, darn. Right there. See that sideways 8, that infinity sign? That lines up with that little arrow. And so that's infinity. So that's pretty good. I'm really happy with it. Oh, also in the book, it had and I did this before I did this step here the other night when I reset everything. When I set the 30 or the 350 feet or what have you distance, it had me set it up, I think at 6 feet. In the book it says 6 feet from a target, and was it 6? That's something on the side. Yeah, and then you set this to 6 on the meter, or the dial on the side to 6 feet, and then you focus in on, and you look, and so I focused this on the refrigerator with the magnet on there that had a line on it, and it was pretty close. So I'm gonna guess now that it will be like really close because I did that final little bit of fine tuning on it. So anyhow, I just went on the internet and I googled for a manual. I don't want to lose my little thing, but a repair manual is what I googled for a Omega 100, and I couldn't find it, but I did find for a 100 Rapid, like I said, and it's close. I mean, there's a lot of real similar things. So I think that, I mean, this step hasn't changed from this model to the next. I'm sure it's just little things like the back layout is different, and the dark slide is different, and I'm sure there's a multitude of other little things that are different, and it gives you how to make this. So I'm going to take that one off the wall and stick it in here, put it in my book, and it should be good. I'm going to put the plug back in. I'm going to take magic marker and touch up my old scratches and screw it back in there. So if you're going to make one of these and you don't have the book, you need to 90 millimeters apart. So you just get a piece of paper. Just get you a piece of paper. I just used a piece of cardboard. Just say use white, but I had yellow. And it's from inside of this line to inside of this line is 90 millimeters. And 7 millimeters wide, 7 millimeters wide there. So you just put your dot and the dot for your 90 millimeters, come over another 7 millimeters, 7 millimeters. Then you draw your line up 75 millimeters this side here. So you have a block that's 75 millimeters. This one is 87 millimeters high, and then at the top 7 millimeters thick. So that's 87, and then it makes it 80 to there, where it makes that bend, and then there's your 7. So and then see, here's the picture of what you wind up with. Is in here, this picture, it looks like this little short one moves over on top of this one, but in mine, this moved over on top of this one when I adjusted it. Now, I don't know why that would be, but that's how mine turned out. It worked. So, well, I think it worked. I adjusted it that way, and I don't know how I could have adjusted it any other way. That's what you got. So I'll get this picture, and it tells you right here the directions on how to do it. So which we just walked through. So Okay, an additional check is for close-up. We did the infinity, and the book says to set this at 5 foot. So I'm focusing on that door jamb right here, and there's my tape. Right there is 5 foot, which puts it at the back of the lens. Now I don't know if it's the back of the lens or if it's where the film. So I'm assuming it would be the film. So I'm going to move this ahead. I don't know, inch, whatever. So now that's roughly 5 foot, I believe, to the right at the back where the front of the film is. And then it says to set the distance right here at 5 feet. And I guess that looks like 5 foot to me. And then I should be able to look through here. And can't tell if you can tell or not. But anyway, look through there, and my lines should line up. So I'm going to take a quick look. And they do. It does. That's good. So I'm going to switch hands here. I'm going to look in there, and I'm going to adjust grab this and then turn it just a little bit both ways. So, yep, it's moving off focus. It's right on focus. Turn it, now it's off focus the other way, so right there. And that's right at 5 foot. So that's the key, I guess, is do the infinity and do the, like I said, I checked this the other night, and it was pretty close. It was within, well, and it actually says you can be correct within, yeah, right here, 50 millimeters plus or minus. So 50 millimeters plus or minus is what? Oh, I don't know. Let's look on my millimeter thing. I think it's around 2 inches. 50 millimeters. So now that's more than that. 50 millimeters is closer to, yeah, it's 2 inches. So plus or minus 2 inches. And I think we're plus or minus. Depends on where we're looking. If we're thinking here, or if we're thinking at the film, or if we're thinking at the here. So we're within tolerance. It was pretty darn good. So I think that if you have one of these cameras like that, and you want to know if your infinity is your rangefinder and is set correctly. Now, I don't know if that takes care of the lens, because I know that the lens has its own mechanics as far as in here of things that move, but I can't think that, no, all that would do is move your lens back and forth. So if you have a good lens, my thinking is this will have everything set up, I believe. So, with focusing adjustment set to 5 feet, the actual distance from the camera to subject should be correct within plus or minus 50 millimeters for the standard lens. And that's what I have. So, and then when you go with the wide angle lens, which is like the 58 or a 60, then you have plus or minus 100 millimeter and 70 millimeter error plus or minus at 25 feet. My I got a sports finder for it. It's kind of cool. This is for the, well, let's see here. It's marked on the side here. 180 millimeter would be this square lens. 90 is what I have. That would be this square. And then the 60 millimeter, the wide angle, is this, which you don't need. If you look through the viewfinder, you'll see lines marked, lines here, 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 like that, but they're in here on the viewfinder. They're little greenish yellow lines. This will do the wide angle lens, which you cannot see in here from what I understand. But my understanding is the benefit of this is you can stand on the side of the basketball court or in the stands and, you know, and focus at the basketball goal, and you know that's where you're standing, and that's, you know, roughly, I don't know, if you're lucky, you're 10 foot away. You set that around 10 foot, and then you can focus with this, and as long as you don't move too far, then you can just look through and line things up, and as you're taking a picture, you don't have to try to find it, so you can have this better chance of getting, you know, so you can see where your shot's going to fall on your film. Or if it's telephoto here, you know, if you was doing clear down there at infinity, then you would be with a telephoto lens, and you'd be looking at that. Or if you're using the 90, you would look at that. Or the 50 or whatever, 48, 58 or 60, whatever it is, the wide angle, you would use this red one. So that, I got that, came in the mail, and it's pretty cool. It has this little outrigger on the side that locks it down, and it trues it up when it pulls it down, but it just slides into the cold shoes on the top. And this cold shoe was bent. It wouldn't slide in there. And at first I thought, whoa, it's got to go this way because it slides in. No, it don't. I got to looking, and now it was bent, so I straightened it, and now it slides in just fine. Just slide that sucker in there, and then square it up as far as it goes on the front, and snug it down with that lock ring, and you're good to go. So you just fold that down and fold this down, and that's not in your way. And then I got my lens strap, carrying strap. I got this at the camera store the other day. It's almost, it looks new. It smells like kind of a bit like perfume or cologne, but peak design. But it's a real nice lens strap. It was in their used compartment box. So I guess my next step now is to load some film in it and get some pictures taken. I don't have anything to develop 120 yet, 120 film, so I will have to send it off. But if I've got a camera that works, then I can work on something from there to develop my own. But anyway, I do have 3 rolls of film, so I'll do that, get some pictures. I did not mention that you can, if you want, take the top off, and I did, because I wanted to clean the lens, or the sight in the mirror area, and so there's a screw on this end. You can see that. It's easy, just the little screw there. And then there's a screw back in that hole on that handle, and then there's a screw right there, so there's two on this side. Take the back off, and right underneath that patent sign, if the back's off on the very bottom, there's a screw pointing up. Take that out, and it just lifts right off, and then you can take and clean the little, lens places, and then clean the little mirror, and makes it really nice, really simple to open up. And then you can look in there and see, that's actually how I figured out that this was a threaded plug, not a push-out plug, because I took the top off and looked and was like, hey, it's got threads in that hole. So that might help some of you folks. And also, that you can download that manual. I'll try and find it and get a link, and I'll try and put it in the description.
Like a bird on a tree, I'm just sitting here. I got time, it's clear to see.